Okay, I've been wanting to make a video like this for a while, and I'm here simply to talk about the truth about the real estate market. Um, Everything in real estate is local. I'm going to be focusing local on Bastrop County and on a specific neighborhood in Bastrop. But I'm doing this because I want to show you the trends. And to look at trends, we need to look at a 5 to 10 year period to really understand what's going on. But as many of you know, during COVID from 2020 to 2022, we saw one of the biggest booms um, in real estate in probably the history of the market, certainly a very long time. We saw price increases anywhere from 50 to 100% across the board. Easily, you can average out and say in the Central Texas area, we saw prices go up 70, 80%. Um, now, um, that was to me at the time, it seemed obviously that it was unsustainable. I bought in uh, end of 2022 when interest rates started going up and prices started going down. I bought because I needed to buy a home. I knew I was going to be staying here for a while, but I knew very well that um, that I was probably not going to be sitting on equity for a good few years, and that's proven to be correct. Um, and it's an unfortunate situation, but it's also just the way markets work. They go up, they go down. They went up primarily because of really low interest rates. They went up because of social changes going on, of a great migration happening, but primarily because of interest rates. And then as interest rates were as they needed to be rose, the prices have started to come down. Now let's just actually go take a look at the numbers. And I find the easiest way to do this is just looking at price per square foot. So this is from the MLS, some data they're giving, and it's generally fairly accurate. It's We're looking at Bastrop County, and we're looking at Bastrop County price per square foot across the county for residential homes is $206 per square foot. That's down 5% from the previous year, from 2024. Um, so and again, that's why I say here, you'll see some discrepancies. Here it's showing 206, here it's showing 203, but we can see the pattern. 2020, we went from 149 per square foot. 2021, and probably if we go back to 2019, it would probably be even a little lower. It went to 195 per square foot. Um, we maxed out in 2022 at 231 per square foot. 2023, we saw a drop down to 213, 2024, 205, and we're sitting at 203. So the bleeding has slowed down significantly. The greatest drop we saw was in 2023 and 2024, but is the market is slowly declining right now. It's a soft market. There's a lot of euphemisms you can use, but that's just the matter of the fact. To give you a better idea, I'm using the neighborhood I live in, which is Riverside Grove, and I wanted to show just historically. And we're looking at single story homes in Riverside Grove. So that's the criteria right here. So we started out in the end of 2019, which was the market was still fairly normal then. And we see houses were selling on average for um, a dollar, a buck 20 per square foot is really what we're seeing. We're seeing that into 2022. Sorry, we're seeing that into 2020 um, as things progress in 2020 towards the end. We're still seeing that. We're seeing it start to creep up. 2021 is really where we start to see some noticeable changes. So you'll see 2021 over here, we're getting up into the 150s, 160s is becoming normal per square foot. As we continue through 2021 towards the end, we start getting up into 160, 180s becoming common. There's always going to be some anomalies. There still is in the market today, both up and down. But again, average. We're looking at the at averages here. So as we get into 2022, we see prices really skyrocket, and we start seeing homes selling in the 200 per square feet. It becomes normal to sell for 240 per square foot there for a while. That was the peak, Q2 of 2022. Now as we get now Q3 of 2022 is when interest rates started rising. So we start to see we already seeing some dips here. So we see it go down to the low 200s per square foot. And then as we get into 2023, we start seeing more homes dip below that 200 price point per square foot. We're still seeing some in the low 200s. We get into 2024, and we're seeing the 170s is pretty common. And then throughout 2024, 170 is pretty on point. And we get here to 2025. We're still seeing some there, but we're starting to see more around the 150 to 170. Now, there are so many different factors here. Obviously, the quality of the home, the location, the specific size of the home, price per square foot is not a perfect way to analyze, but you can see general trends. You can see that we went from in the period of 5 years from the low 100s to the mid 200s and then back to the high 100s. So that's where the market is. So now if you bought in 2022 and you paid 240 per square foot, you're not going to be able to recoup that money. You're going to be taking loss. So what should you do? Well, if you can, you should hold. You should just stay in your home. When you buy a property in general, you should always have in mindset, like you should be able to commit that I'm going to stay here 3, really 5 years. If you look over a period of 5 years, I feel very confident, even with the stuff we're dealing with now, market's going to recover pretty well. But if you do need to sell, you're looking at taking loss. And there are people now that are in a situation where they're having to do short sales, where they're having to work with a bank to sell their home for less than they owe. And there are more and more people getting into foreclosures. We're not seeing a huge amount. We're not seeing as many as we saw in, say, 2008. A lot of people have locked in lower interest rates, so it could be their payments aren't that bad. But the reality of the market is simply the reality. And certainly if you bought before really 2022, you should be doing pretty good. The key as a seller, if you do need to sell, is just don't be greedy. If you're going to be greedy and you're going to try and sell for what the market was in 2022 or even 2023, you're just going to sit on your house and you're going to end up losing more money than you would have made pricing it right. So price it right from the beginning. If you don't need to sell, then don't sell. But can't change the market. It is what it is. This is the reality of the market. If you're in a specific situation or you have a question about your home, I'm more than happy to chat and to help you any way I can.